Hello, my name is Tracy Rice, English 114, oral presentation on molestation. How to cope and deal with molestation in terms of overcoming distorted thinking and improving interpersonal relationships, as well as ultimately recovering as a whole person. Child molestation is also called child sexual abuse. This is when a person engages in sexual activity with a minor or use a child for their own sexual gratification. Uh, this actually was non-existent until the 1920s, and then it became more public in the 1970s and 80s. Um, Society just kind of, kept it hidden under a blanket. It was like a secretive thing among families. It was just kind of socially unspoken of, and people would just kind of cringe at the thought of a child and sex being involved. Um, uh, these victims, they usually are at risk of developing mental and psychological problems or issues. They are vulnerable to sexual, physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual dysfunctioning in their lives. Distorted thinking was the hardest for me personally, because I am a victim of sexual molestation. Um, Distorted thinking is negative thinking, irrational emotion, and this thinking, it just keeps you feeling bad about yourself, um, and it leads to depression and anxiety. Um, there's like 15 different styles of it, and I think I experienced like three of them. And control fallacies is, internal um, respon where you feel responsible for pain or happiness of everyone. And then there's another one, fallacy of change, and that's when you pressure and harass people to change the way you think that they should be. And you know, it's almost like your hopes and happiness depend on it. And then you have some blaming going on, and you feel responsible for pain for every problem that happens. And these behaviors will stop you if you don't stop them. They will cause havoc to your life. Uh, so, anybody that's having distorted thinking, that's a past victim of child molestation, I suggest that they make every effort to identify and examine, problem thinking, and seek successful resolutions rather than negative, and do self inventory, of themselves, kind of survey themselves and their own opinions, and thinking uh, a reality standpoint. And another thing that I like to discuss is uh, maintaining and improving interpersonal relationships. A lot of these relationships, well, let me tell you what the definition is. It's a, strong, deep, close connection with people, society, social, cultural, just any type interaction that you have. For children, it's like confusion, guilt, shame, fault that you have during your childhood, and it also stems up into your adulthood. Um, as an adult, you have problems with trust, paranoia, um, you have insecurities, um, repressed emotion, um, Power struggles, especially with a male figure, and fear of rejection, and a huge deficit in communication. So, um, the treatment that I found that works for me is staying calm and humble and opening up and speaking out my fears and about issues and problems, and also seeking professional help uh, and counseling to develop more techniques to use to help me in those areas. A victim has no control of the action that was done against them, or they don't have control over the impact that it has on them. But what they do have control over is becoming a survivor and recovering into a whole person. So that's kind of like my conclusion. Victims do have a choice. Um, and, the work doesn't end after you get out of the abuse itself. The work continues on into adulthood and getting out of these types of distorted thinking and maintaining good, healthy relationships and becoming a whole person and taking your power back. Thank you.